second best player of all time, right behind Michael Jordan. Curry has this instinct, what I saw with Jordan, where anytime he has the ball, you think it's going to go in. He is a threat offensively. I think we've got 3 or 4 more years of Curry in his prime right now. I would put Curry ahead of LeBron James right now as far as that number 2 guy behind
I love this
Michael
so much.
Jordan.
All right, Jay Will.
I mean, what do you mean, all right?
I'm saying, all right, Jay Will.
You don't want to touch it, Jay?
Man.
Go ahead.
I love Steph. I think Steph is one of the most unique players the game of basketball has ever seen, ever. But to me, LeBron James is just, he's different. He's in a different individual category. We can get into all the metrics, right? Like he's the leader in points by 17,000 points over Steph. Assists by 5,000 assists, rebounds by 7,000. He has 10,000. Steph has 3 blocks, steals, all of it. I mean, the only thing he doesn't lead statistically by a wide margin is number of threes that are made. But I've seen LeBron James drag teams to the NBA Finals that had no business at all being in the NBA Finals. So, I mean, we got into this debate the other day, Freddie, when Alan Yates was like, yo, would you rather be 6-0 in the finals or would you rather be 6-6 or whatever that record is for LeBron James?
Yeah.
And it was like one of those things like, I'd rather have gone there 13, 14 times. I've dominated the league for this extended period of time. So for me, I love Stephen Curry, but I'm not going to forecast that he's going to be the second greatest player ever to play this game of basketball. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm not going to do that. LeBron James or Cap, there are a lot of other guys that are put above Steph in that conversation.
You know what's so interesting about this, Freddie and Jay, is I wish I knew how to forecast something at Caesars or wherever we bet at and place money down, but I have my own board where I can forecast what would happen. And I think, Jay, you will remember this along with Yates and maybe Pat Costello if he wasn't working in TV at the time. When Steph Curry won his championship, what was the first thing I said, Jay?
You said people.
You remember?
You said people are going to start talking about him as one of the greatest. Didn't you say that, like the greatest?
No, I said what's going to happen is people are going to start to put him in front of LeBron James and have that conversation about the LeBron James, if Steph Curry. And if Steph Curry happens to win another one, imagine what that's going to do in terms of LeBron James. I don't personally think that Steph could catch LeBron because LeBron is so far out there already. He's so far in front of him that it would probably take him to win a couple more championships to really have a serious conversation. And I know Bobby Marks was a former general manager in this league and knows personnel people and all those sort of things. It's just very difficult to make Steph Curry the second best player of all time in the NBA. And I know he changed the game, but so did Magic Johnson. He changed the game. And so, you start to look at it a little bit different. He's not there. Does he slide into the top 10? Yes, it's no question about it. Where does that place him, right? The top 3 guys clearly are the Cap, LeBron James, and Michael Jordan. And then from there, you can argue whoever you want to argue. But Steph Curry belongs in that conversation. I just don't believe that you put him in number 2.
And first off, just the people who are diehard Steph Curry fans, you called it, Keith. You called it.
I knew they were going to do that.
You called it. It's not a slight to Steph Curry that we don't think he's the second best player to ever play the game. But some people who are diehard Stephen Curry fans will interpret it that way. And that's not the case. It's just LeBron James is different, man. What he brings on the defensive side of the ball, offensively, the way he impacts the game, each and every play. I think even Steph would tell you that he sees LeBron James as somewhat unique and different in the overall scheme of basketball.
Yeah, but I've always said for the longest time, to me, LeBron James is the greatest athlete that's ever played in the NBA because we haven't seen that kind of size of 6'8", that kind of build that can handle the basketball, that can run like that, and modern basketball can play 5 positions. Steph Curry's impact is that he's brought shooting back into the game, that he's made it look so easy that to do that people put more of a premium on shooting. In terms of impact, you can make whatever case you want. But I thought it was interesting that because of, to Key's point, the minute that Steph won that championship and it was the finals MVP, the lack of love for him really kind of ceased and has gotten to a different level now.
How many Finals MVPs LeBron got?
LeBron has, what, 3?
What, 4?
Four?
I think
He's won 4, yeah. Well, Steph, in my opinion, should have 2. At least 2.
I hear.
He should have the first one that Andre Iguodala was given to. Nothing against Andre Iguodala. But Steph Curry, come on, took over that series the first time he won the championship. He should have 2. That's neither here nor there. But when Bobby Marks said that, I did just like this. I went, oh, boy, here we go. Because I knew what that was going to sound like on one side or the other regarding Steph Curry and being the second best all time in the NBA. Yeah, I'm sure that what's going to continue here on Keyshawn J. Willimax with Keyshawn Johnson and Jay Williams. I'm Hot Sauce Freddie Coleman, presented by Progressive
there it
Insurance.
Is. Hot Sauce Freddie.
Just for you guys. And Keyshawn Johnson is not trying to hear it about the still retired Rob Gronkowski. That's next on ESPN Radio and ESPN.
Same. Welcome back to NBA Today. We are joined now by ESPN NBA front office insider Bobby Marks, NBA reporter Dave McMenamin, Zach Lowe. Bobby, I'm sorry. It's the 9-year anniversary of the Nets trading Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce. And I feel like I'm the mean one. I'm always the one that's like, oh, yeah, let's have Bobby on the anniversary just to go like that. Are you okay? Are we good?
I wore Celtic green in honor of it.
Oh, see, look at that. Water under the bridge, right? There it is. Well, we can move forward now, though, Bobby, because the Nets, they're staring down yet another rebuild, right, if they do end up trading Kevin Durant. What do you think is the most realistic return that Brooklyn could get for KD that would minimize that rebuild window?
Yeah, and I think, Malika, it's a lot different than back in 2015 or 14 after Paul Pierce left and we traded Kevin Garnett for Thaddeus Young. Here you have Kevin Durant, 33 years old, MVP candidate, will not leave for nothing here. So when you're looking at Brooklyn, you will get 4 first-round picks. You will get pick swaps for him. The goal now is to get that established young player, and the likelihood is that a player like Scotty Barnes is off the table. Now, who is going to be that next player or players? That's the big thing for Brooklyn. And remember, they don't have their own first-round picks, right? That's going to Houston as far as the James Harden trade here. So it's not like you can kind of hit rock bottom, build through the draft like Oklahoma City's been doing. Yeah. You almost have to do somewhat of an accelerated rebuild here, and that's the goal for Brooklyn, the picks, the swaps, and then get at least one good young player on a controllable contract.
Yeah. Well, we heard our Adrian Wojnarowski, when he joined the show earlier, say that right now it looks like the Nets are focused in on Kevin Durant and what he may decide to do, whether they're able to come up with that package to a steep price that they're talking about, or if he could be on the roster. We'll see how that plays out. But that's where their focus lies. Kyrie Irving is a secondary domino. But Dave, how do you think the Lakers are going to proceed if the Nets appear to be holding on to Kyrie Irving?
Well, they have to figure this thing out, Malika. They are waiting to see if Brooklyn will, in fact, decide to try to bring both those guys back. And the thing I learned in reporting the last couple of days in Vegas is that it seems to be the summation of the Nets thinking is that Kevin Durant made a decision to ask for this trade at a time where emotions were running high, seeing his former team, the Warriors, win a championship, and perhaps with the passage of time, he'd want to come back to the fold. And they're not going to make a move like trading Kyrie Irving until they hear it from the horse's mouth and they get a clear message from Kevin Durant what his intentions are moving forward. Because quite frankly, if they were to move Kyrie, that could be the thing that triggers KD to say, I definitely want out. Maybe they could convince everyone involved that let's give this another shot. And that's why it's unlikely for the Lakers to be able to pry Kyrie away in the interim. And at some point, they'll have to start looking at a plan B or a plan C.
Well, that's why sometimes it's just like, okay, what do you say to children, right? Just take a deep breath, and we're all gonna figure it out. And that could be what we see happen here. Zach, you've had a couple of days to take some deep breaths. You've been off KD Kyrie duty for a little bit, so let's put you back on it. What do you think of everything we just heard?
I think it's all dead on, and really, in the last couple of days, nothing all that notable has happened. The market is kind of frozen. It is where it is. They're not getting the requisite offers that they think they should get for Kevin Durant. And the Kyrie Irving thing, as Woj reported, comes secondary to that. Right now, it looks like, buckle up, we're in for a long haul. But like Bobby said, whether they get the home run trade for Kevin Durant or not, they're still going to come out with a lot of stuff what that stuff is, whether it's veterans, young players, a little bit of everything, the Nets will come out of this. Remember, Ben Simmons is still on their team, presumably. They're going to come out with some kind of direction.
It's going to be interesting to watch all of that play out. And also DeAndre Ayton, right? We know that Woj reported that the whole market was sort of in a holding pattern for a little bit, waiting for Kevin Durant. But if that domino isn't going to fall, some decisions are going to need to be made on the DeAndre Ayton front. So we'll stay tuned for that. But our producers just told me that earlier, Bobby, on This Just In, you had something that all of us here need to hear. So I'm just going to play that for everybody.
And I'm going to stun you with this take here. I actually think Steph Curry is the second best player of all time, right behind Michael Jordan. Curry has this instinct, what I saw with Jordan, where anytime he has the ball, you think it's going to go in. He is a threat offensively. I think we've got 3 or 4 more years